This is Valley News Live at 6.
The man wanted in an attempted murder case in Mayville earlier this month has been arrested and tonight is in the Grand Forks County Jail.
Officers say surveillance video shows Noberto Zapata Jr. stabbing a man with a screwdriver in his right inner thigh as well as the victim's head. Last week we told you about the assault, and at that time the 4 people on your screen were arrested and charged with conspiracy to commit aggravated assault. The victim told police he was punched, stabbed, hit with a bat, and run over by a car on the Mayville State campus by these men. The victim's condition still unknown, but Trail County Sheriff Steve Hunt says his injuries were substantial.
New tonight at 6, a semi went off the road and ended up on someone's lawn. It happened around 3 this afternoon on Highway 2 by 4th Avenue in Polk County. The Minnesota State Patrol says the driver was 68-year-old Kenneth Puppy. He was taken to a hospital with injuries that are not life-threatening. Most days the temperatures tend to climb after the sun comes up, but not today. It's been chilly, and like you, we're wondering what tonight will bring. Let's find out from Hutch what we can expect. Hey, Hutch.
Thanks so much, Andrea. Yes, indeed. Temperatures have been falling throughout the day. Your high temperatures today were about midnight last night. And in fact, right now we're 26 degrees colder than yesterday at this time in the FM area. We had wind gusts over 40 miles per hour for many areas. Well, it wasn't quite as windy in Fargo today, but still gusts over 30 miles per hour. Look at these very skinny temperatures. 1 whole degree in Badette, Grand Forks 7, holding out of the teens out to the west. Quick look at that radar showing quiet conditions for now in our area. A little snow down near Ellendale, but other than that, things quiet. Temperatures will continue to cool. We'll be close to 0 at bedtime tonight, and it remains breezy. Below 0 readings by bedtime tonight up north. I'll have details here in a bit on how low we go. We'll update you on our chance of snow for that weekend planner here in just a moment.
All right, thanks, Hutch.
A delay and shortage of COVID-19 vaccines in Minnesota has left Clay County Public Health with over 1,000 people in Group 1A still left to be vaccinated before the end of the month. Meanwhile, North Dakota and Cass County are well into vaccinating the public and those in Category 1B. Valley News Team's Bailey Hurley spoke with Clay County officials today on their frustrations and has our story.
Challenging. That's the word Kathy McKay of the Clay County Public Health Department uses to describe the county's COVID-19 vaccination efforts.
It's hard to be patient, but that's what we're telling our citizens is just be patient.
McKay says while it does vary, Clay County is only receiving between 1 and 400 doses of the vaccine each week, which is significantly lower than North Dakota.
We're hopeful that we can get vaccine and then finish out the month, and then moving on to other needs.
McKay says not having a hospital system in Clay County does play a factor into the lower amount of doses received, adding while she knows it's not a competition between Cass and Clay counties, it is a frustrating reality.
We want to work as one metro community, and in this case, there's just a big divide in how that vaccine is being distributed and how much the North Dakota side is receiving versus Minnesota side. So we're not in step like we'd like to be.
But McKay points out the lack of vaccinations is not due to the county's lack of resources, saying the county has a team and location ready to push out more vaccine doses, saying now it's just up to the federal government to step up. In Clay County, Bailey Hurley, Valley News Live.
Sanford Health says in an effort to help their eastern neighbors, tomorrow Clay County residents who are already Sanford patients will be able to get a vaccine shot at the Moorhead Clinic. Sanford says patients 75 and older with underlying conditions were already notified through MyChart. If you did not receive a notification, you will not be able to get a shot.
Essentia Health has started vaccinations for Priority Group 1B. Dr. Richard Vetter says Essentia has received both the Pfizer and Moderna doses for the first round of vaccinations. This goes to the 75 and older group. Essentia has received 975 doses of Pfizer and a couple doses of Moderna. This week alone, Essentia will vaccinate over 1,000 people. Vaccinations are also happening in Wahpeton, Valley City, Jamestown, and many Minnesota sites. When it's the patient's turn, they are asked to reach out through their MyChart patient portal. Essentia will reach out through the same means and in many cases by voice and phone messaging. In the next 2 weeks, Essentia will join Sanford Health in the joint vaccination vaccination center located in the old Gordman's building. Dr. Vetter says this makes it easier in terms of fixing the misinformation that's out there about vaccinations.
Well, I think the value really will be to show the community and be able to communicate to the community on a much more consistent basis. There's been a lot of challenges, I think, around communication, miscommunication. You know, the story changes from time to time. And so I think having a co-located facility will really help us with the communication about when doses are available, what's available, how many doses, that sort of thing.
Until then, vaccinations will be provided at their 32nd Avenue South location. Essentia shows a 70% acceptance rate surrounding vaccinations with their staff. The shot is not mandated, but is encouraged. As area students continue in-person learning, they will keep a close watch on COVID-19 cases. Staff are still raising concerns about larger groups attending weddings and funerals.
A survey shows North Dakota teachers are willing to go back into the classroom after a drop in COVID-19 cases. The report said 52% of the 501 educators said they felt staff returning to full-time in-person learning. North Dakota United officials say that's up from 31% in October. However, many teachers are considering another profession due to increased stress and burnout due to the pandemic.
A Sanford cardiologist has a reminder for young athletes and their parents tonight, urging you to take it easy after recovering from COVID-19. Dr. Sunita Sharma says in the last few weeks, Sanford has seen a rise in young athletes coming into the clinic post-COVID.
Just complaining of exertional shortness of breath and not able to do the activity that they were doing before COVID. Or also have seen some patients having different heart arrhythmias like palpitations or racing of the heart or irregular heart rhythm too.
She says 2 weeks after you've recovered, it's best to take it slow and gradually increase your activity levels every 2 weeks until you're back at full strength to avoid causing permanent damage to your heart and lungs.
The Jamestown Regional Medical Center COVID unit has remained empty over the past 3 weeks after a surge of cases late last year. The hospital cared for up to 10 patients a day in November when the hospital hit maximum capacity. Now, with empty beds and the second round of Moderna vaccines underway, healthcare workers say they're getting back to their normal routine. Julie Martin reports on a hospital that's now appears to have turned the corner.
This video was taken in December when the inpatient floor was transformed into a COVID unit. Now beds are empty.
We made it through the holidays, we made it through New Year's. We're now past 2 weeks out from that, and our numbers are still low.
In the emergency department, trauma bays are empty, but the lingering effects of caring for COVID patients remain.
4 to 6 weeks where you came to work, you had that anxious feeling because you didn't know what you were going to do or you didn't know how you were going to take care of the patients.
Some felt the heartache more than others.
Since I did have COVID in July, and then I ended up losing my grandfather to COVID in October. So it just kind of hits differently for me, having to see the front line.
Upstairs, nurses are back on their usual rounds. Shelves of full body protective equipment still sit outside of potential COVID rooms.
We all picked up extra hours to be able to staff the unit better. And now we're getting back to what we normally used to work.
On Wednesday, hundreds of healthcare workers received their second and final shot of the Moderna vaccine.
People were ready to move on to the next phase of this pandemic and start that process of hopefully winding down with it, and the vaccine kind of represented the first step of that.
For many, it was a cushion as they go back to the front lines.
There was just like that little bit of sense of I'm more protected.
Yet it is just another form of armor as they continue to face the pandemic head on.
The Department of Health reported only 3 new COVID-19 cases today.
Later on Valley News Live at 6, what the Minnesota BCA found when it investigated a pro-Trump rally from earlier this month.
And temperatures today reached a peak of 30 degrees after midnight. In the 7 o'clock hour, we were in the teens, and that's where we stayed into the afternoon. Your forecast looks chilly for Friday. Details are coming up next.